Hello everybody, House Shrink here for another extended streaming that will eventually go on YouTube because, as you know, we can only have a 60-second video on TikTok, but they allow for these videos to be downloaded anywhere else. So I'm going to have it on YouTube for you to be able to watch the entirety, and the YouTube channel is Dr. Mario Martinez. Okay, so people are beginning to come in, and I'm going to wait a couple of minutes so I can talk about the topic of today. So I just first want to welcome you and to let you know that I do these regular videos on my channel, House Shrink, and I want to invite you to join me and follow both here. TikTok would be House Shrink, and on YouTube it would be Dr. Mario Martinez. So you can have both videos. I have a short version that I just published on House Shrink here on TikTok, the 60-second, and this one will be an extended explaining more of the topic that I'm going to be talking about, and it'll be available on my YouTube channel. And I want you to please follow, because that way you'll have access to more videos and you'll be able to know when I put things up. So follow my House Shrink here on TikTok, and then follow my YouTube, Dr. Mario Martinez. Okay, so the topic for today is an extension of what I did on the short video, which is 3 tools to navigate adversity. So what is adversity? Adversity is when your plans are disrupted, when something happens that takes you out of certainty and it puts you into uncertainty. That's an adversity. It could be an illness, it could be a loss of a job, it could be a project for school, or a project at work, something that deviates you from the objective. You were expecting this to happen, and all of a sudden the storm comes in and it doesn't happen anymore. So that's adversity. And in order to navigate adversity, in order to be able to handle adversity, to reduce your stress level and to let your brain go into what it needs in order to deal with adversity, then there are 3 tools, or you could look at it as a compass that has 3 cardinal points. And those 3 points are, you have adversity, and the 3 points, what do I do during adversity? They're going to be 3 areas that you're going to find that you need to be able to access depending on what's going on. The first one is courage, the second one is patience, and the third is faith. Faith in the outcome. I'm not talking about religious faith here. Faith in the outcome, that the outcome in the long run will be good. Okay, so then how do you find which one you need? So for example, something happens in your life that disrupts your certainty, that disrupts your objectives in whatever way. The first thing you have to ask is, okay, what's my reaction now? Of course, you always take a deep breath so you can think. When you don't breathe, the brain, the very primitive part of the brain is what's activated. So you're acting, just running around and not understanding what's going on. So if you breathe and you relax, it goes up to the cortex, which is the part that's logical and reasonable. So that's the first thing you do. Take a deep breath. And then ask yourself, am I trying to rush this? Am I trying to rush the situation because of the stress that I'm feeling? There, you need patience. That is a tool, patience. But how do you handle that? You have already archives and information from hundreds of thousands of years, as well as your own experiences of what patience is all about. But you have to embody it, you have to experience it. So what you do is you go, when you relax and you ask yourself, when was the last time that I was patient, that it paid off? I was patient about something and it paid off. It could be something like somebody sends you an email and you get upset, and instead of responding right away, you give it time and you think it through, and then when you write it, it's a lot better because you didn't respond impulsively. That's patience. So once you bring that memory, you bring it in, you embody it. Embodying means allowing it to be experienced, to see where it's going to land. When you embody the patience, then you go into the patience consciousness for the day, and you see that you're able to handle the adversity much better. So that's the first one. If you just joined us, I'm talking about the 3 tools for adversity, which are patience, courage, and faith in the outcome of what you're wanting. And I just talked about patience. But let's say now that instead of patience, you find that you're afraid. Something is happening and you're afraid because of the adversity. Well, then you go to the cardinal point there, and what is it that you need? Courage. So then you take a deep breath and you go to your archives, which is your memories, your archives that you have, mind body archives, and you ask yourself, let me think about a time that I was courageous and it worked out for me. You bring that memory in and you embody it. You feel it, where it lands in your body. You get a sense, a felt meaning of it. And then you say, okay, now, so this is what courage feels like. I'm going to cultivate courage for today and deal with courage with the situation. So that's the second one. The third is that, again, you have adversity, but the way you're responding is that you just lost faith in everything. So the faith in everything means that you lost hope. And when you lost hope, then you give up. So the thing to do then is that you go back and you ask yourself, when was the last time that I had faith? And I don't mean religious faith. I mean faith in something that it'll work in one way or another. Then you go back and you experience that. And when you experience it, then you allow it to be embodied. And then you say, okay, I'm going to have faith in outcome. But faith in outcomes doesn't mean exactly what you want it to be. I call it the auspiciousness. Auspicious is a word that means in the long run, things will work for me. Maybe not exactly the way I want it, but in the long run, it'll be the best fit. That's what auspiciousness is. So those are the three components. And those of you who just joined, what I'm doing is I'm talking about the three tools that I use for adversity, which is patience, courage, or faith. Faith on your journey. So that's the way to begin to look at adversity. And again, adversity is when there's a disruption of your serenity, a disruption of your objectives. A storm is coming in, emotional or physical, intellectual, and then you have those three tools that you can use depending on which one you need. And what I mentioned earlier, for those of you who just joined, is that if you're feeling like you're rushing, you don't have enough time, you're not dealing well with what's going on because of a time concept, then you go to the patience and bring back a memory of patience, embody it, and begin to slow down. I need to slow down because I'm in a hurry. I slow down because I'm in a hurry. It sounds counterintuitive, but it works. That's one. But if you are in adversity and you feel afraid, you're afraid of what's going on, then what do you need? Courage. And you have a history of courage in your archives and your memories. So you bring that memory. Remember when I was courageous at time and it worked for me and it was really very good. Okay, then embody that, the felt meaning of that courage, and begin to cultivate courage. Begin to bring out your courage to deal with the situation. And you practice it for the rest of the day. And the third, when you lose hope, you say, oh, this is too much, nothing's going to work. You lose hope, then you go, faith. When did I have faith in something that I allowed myself to believe in it and it worked out for me? And you go back, you bring it out. And then you go into faith consciousness, where you believe that the outcome will be good. And you work on having faith in your work. What that will do, those three components, what they will do is they will clear out your head and will allow you to think in a cogent way, in a clear way, rather than running all over the place. Because anxiety causes disorganization of the brain. Sometimes a person could be so anxious they can't even remember their own name. It's the disorganization that the brain does. You have stress hormones and all kinds of neurotransmitter changes, and it stops you from looking at yourself in a way that allows you to move forward. So this is the way to begin to look at it, and then learning to navigate your adversity will allow you to be more successful at what you do. It will allow you to avoid the anxiety and the kinds of problems that cause hypertension and ulcers and other kinds of problems that are gastrointestinal that have to do with stress. So if anybody has any questions, as you know, you can ask questions. And if they're serious questions, we don't want clowns, just serious questions, because I'm trying to offer something here to allow you to deal with your life and better yourself. So if you're serious, I'll try to answer it for you. I'm a clinical psychologist, and as you know, those of you who follow my work, I have my channel is How Shrink, and I do quite a few videos on things about life, tools for life. And I try to answer questions as much as possible. But what I ask you to do is to follow my channel, because that way I can expand the audience and you can have access to my work. So all you do is just go to follow How Shrink, and then these videos will eventually go the next day. That they will be published on my channel on YouTube. And the YouTube handle is just simply Dr. Mario Martinez. That's it. You go there, and there are hundreds of videos, free. I also have two books, two best-selling books that are very helpful, and because they go deeper into details for the things that I'm teaching here. And one is The Mind Body Code, and the other one's called The Mind Body Self. They're both on Amazon. They're bestsellers, and you can get them on Amazon, and they're really very good. I put a lot of time into them to provide a good service for people. So just join me. I'm talking about the 3 tools for adversity, and that is patience, courage, and faith. So if anybody has any questions, let me know, and be sure to follow my channel, How Shrink. That's who I am. And I would be very grateful, because then that way I can expand, and you will have access to the work, but also you'll know when I'm doing something live or when I have a particular video that's up, and that way you can keep up. If you follow these tools for life, you're going to find that this information will be very helpful in navigating your world and navigating how you deal with your relationships, how you deal with your money, your self-esteem, all these things that I talk about that are very important. So TikTok becomes a good source for good information. It's not just about all the other things that you see that are just a waste of time, in my opinion. But some of them are entertaining, and that's fine. But I think using media, there has to be a responsibility in using it in a good way. Using, for example, the opportunities that you have here to learn some psychological things and anthropology, and also wellness, about the wellness of the mental health of the individual. So I'm not doing therapy here. I'm doing education. Although I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, you don't do therapy with strangers, because that would be unethical. But what I'm doing is I'm giving you information. It's an educational component that I can do, because it's education that you can apply to yourself, and then you can let me know how it's working for you. So this is an opportunity to create what I call these subcultures of wellness, where you can be a part of a group of people that can reinforce each other's best, your excellence, your brilliance, your creativity, and then grow with each other. That's what I'm trying to propose here. So far there are no questions here, so I'll keep going. But if you have any, please go ahead. Usually there's some really good questions that people come up with. So if you just joined, which a lot of people are joining, I will try to answer your questions. But I'm talking about the 3 that I consider to be tools to handle adversity, to handle difficult situations. And they have to do with patience, courage, and faith. Those 3 things. Faith in outcome, not religious faith. If you have religious faith, that's wonderful, but that's even added value. But what I'm talking about is the faith in outcome being the best that it can be. So that's what I would consider as faith. So any questions on what we're doing here? Also, if anybody is from out of the United States, let me know where you're from, because I always like to know what other countries are involved. When I look at the stats, I always find that, of course, U.S. is number 1. There's UK, usually number 2. Then we have Ireland, the Netherlands, South Africa, and different Australia, New Zealand. So if you're from another country, just go ahead and let me know, and I'll mention your name, and I can welcome you. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Germany, wonderful from Germany. I get a lot of interest from Germany, and I've done a lot of work in Germany, and working with corporations. And I was in Cologne for a while, and working with large corporations, and it's just really it's a beautiful country and beautiful people. So welcome. Any other country, let me know, and I would mention you. So this is Money Yaza Met. I can't make it up. Met. Anyway, the person from Germany. Welcome. So, quite a few people are coming in. If you're from another country, let me know. USA, wonderful. Of course, USA, number one. But all countries are wonderful. Not all. Some countries are just not really kind with women and children, so it's just a cultural thing. But there are some countries that are more evolved than others. But all people are good, I think. It's just that sometimes they're ruled by the wrong politicians and the wrong dictators. Well, it's not a good dictator. There's always a bad dictator. It's not a good thing. So anyway, if you're from another country, let me know, and I will mention you and welcome you to our country, Mexico. Saludos de Mexico. How are you? Nemo Zelda, welcome from Mexico. I've also been to Mexico. I've been to 50 countries already. And I've been to Mexico City to lecture and other places. The subject for today, if you just joined us, somebody was asking, is the 3 tools to navigate adversity, to navigate difficult situations in your life, that it comes in and all of a sudden this disrupts your life. And the 3 components, the 3 tools that I talk about are patience, courage, and faith. Faith in outcome. Not talking about religious faith. Faith in outcome. And for example, if you're in what I talked about earlier, is that if you have adversity, which is the disruption of your objectives, a disruption of your life just turned upside down, then you have to ask yourself, is this happening too fast? Am I going too fast? Am I trying to reach an outcome faster than I can handle? Then you know that you need to look for patience. But you don't look for patience just in your head. What you do is it's called an embodiment of an experience. So you go back to your history and look for a situation in your life where you were patient and it worked out for you. Being patient worked out for you. You took the time that you needed and it worked out better than just reacting reflexively. So then you bring that out and you embody. Embody is very important in mind-body science, meaning that you feel the sense of what it was in that memory. You embody the memory. You don't keep it all in your head. And then what you do is you begin to practice patience. You slow down and you do the things that you need to do in order to handle the situation, because patience was what was needed. But let's say that again, you have an adversity, but what you're feeling is very afraid of what's going on. So there, what you need is courage. And courage, you go back to a memory when you were courageous about something. And we all have been courageous about something, even if it's a small thing. You bring it out, you embody it, you breathe in, and you begin to practice courage for that day. And you will see that what you needed was courage, you got it, and you're able to handle the adversity a lot better. And the third would be when something is happening that's negative and disrupts you, and you just feel hopeless, lost hope and everything. You're no faith in anything anymore. There, what you need is faith in outcome. So you go back to a memory when you actually remember that I had faith in this and I stuck with it and it worked for me. Then bring that out, embody it, breathe it in, and begin to practice, begin to cultivate the faith that you need, the faith in outcome. Faith means that you have believe in something that's going to come out even though you don't have any evidence. No, this is not about religion or spirituality. No, we're not going to move on to a new subject. Try to hear what I'm saying before you conclude that this is religion. Faith in outcome. And several times I clarified that it has nothing to do with faith in religion. If you have faith in religion, that's wonderful. This is psychological. This is about faith in outcome. A belief in something without evidence. That's what it is. So just be aware. Don't get uptight. Has nothing to do with spirituality or religion. By the way, there's nothing wrong with religion or spirituality. Have to respect other people's beliefs. But here, it's psychological. So that's what it's all about. Psychological. Faith in outcome. The operational definition of that is believing in something even though you don't have the evidence to prove that it's going to work. That's what faith is. So glad you brought it up because I wanted to clarify. So anyway, do you have any questions? The one who said, please no religion. I am, Jasper, I think. Do you have any questions that you want to clarify here? You're welcome to ask. You told me what you don't want. Now tell me what you want. That would be nice. So those of you who just joined, I am talking about the 3 tools based on my work in mind-body science to deal with adversity, to deal with difficult situations. which is patience, courage, or faith in outcome. Faith in outcome. Remember that. And depending on what you need, if the situation is making you rush and you don't think you have enough time and you're going too fast, then you need patience there. And you go back, as I explained earlier, you go back to memories where you have actually been patient. You embody it, meaning that you experience it, how it lands in your body, and then you begin to practice patience by slowing down rather than speeding up. Then if it's fear, what you're having, fear is the main characteristic, then you go back to a time when you were courageous and bring that in, experience it, and then begin to cultivate gradually, begin to cultivate the courage that you need. And the third, faith and outcome. Think back of when you lost hope in things and things were very difficult, but you had faith in what you were doing and you stuck with it and it worked. In the long run, it worked. That's the memory that you bring in. You allow it to be embodied, which means the felt meaning of it, and then you begin to practice that faith in outcome. And don't wait for evidence, just faith in outcome and work on it, and the evidence will come. So those are the three that I'm talking about, the three tools to navigate adversity. And adversity is a break of plans. The world is turned upside down for you. But how to just move on after having a lot of faith in something but didn't work out the way you imagined? Well, go back to the memory of when it did work out. But now here's important about having faith in something. Believing in outcome doesn't mean that it has to be exactly the outcome that you want. And this is what I talked about earlier. There's a word that I like to use that is called auspiciousness. Auspicious means believing in something that has the best outcome in the long run. And let me give you an example. You are in a relationship and the relationship doesn't work and you think it's the end of the world and you lost faith in everything. 6 months later you say, I'm so glad this relationship was over because it was certainly not good. So the outcome doesn't unfold as quickly as you want. The outcome eventually comes out. That's why the word auspicious means in the long run you get the best outcome, not exactly what you were looking for, because you may not know what the best is. At the time it feels that way, but later you find out that, oh, there was something better. So that's what I mean by faith and outcome with auspiciousness. That's a good word. Okay, any other questions? Somebody's asking, when are you going to do a collaboration with Mike? I have no idea who Mike is. So if you want to clarify, if you're serious, let me know and then I'll try to answer it for you. So anyway, questions are coming up, and when they do, I'll try to answer them for you. Those of you who just joined, quite a few people joining, then I will try to answer your questions, but the topic is the 3 tools to navigate adversity. Adversity is storm coming in, and it just shakes up your world. You don't know what's going on. And then the tendency is to either lose your patience, lose your faith, or lose your courage. Thank you so much. You're wonderful. Thank you very much. That's very thoughtful for you to say that. This is a Dinner Thief. Nice name. I like it. So thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. Okay, so if you just joined, I'm House Shrink, Dr. Mario Martinez, and this will be posted tomorrow in my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Mario Martinez. That's my channel. You go there and you can see the entirety of this video, and then you can also follow my work if you go there, so you can be notified when I have something new, as well as here. I would like you to, if you would, to follow my work here in House Shrink. Just do the follow. If you want to like it, that's good too, but following is very important because it allows me to do a lot more. Having so many followers, it allows me, for example, to do more than a 60-second like I'm doing here. The only problem is that you can't post it on TikTok because it's only a 60-second segment. But they do allow you to download it into other social media, and that's what I do. I put it on YouTube and Dr. Mario Martinez, and go there, follow my work, and then have access to several hundred videos that I have for free. I also have books. I have two books, The Mind Body Code and The Mind Body Self. They're both on Amazon, the bestsellers, and they go into very deep detail into the things that I talk about here. Here I'm giving you the beginning of some of the tools, and then later if you want to go deeper, then you certainly go there. So this is what it's all about. So welcome everybody, and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try to answer them the best way that I can, and to welcome you here. So if you just joined us, I'm talking about how to deal with adversity using 3 tools that I have developed in my work with working with people with mental problems, illnesses, adversity, relationships. And I think that 3 things happen. One of the 3 things, or sometimes all 3, when you have adversity, which means that there's been a disruption of your plans. Either an illness, the end of a relationship, whatever, there's an adversity. And the 3 components, or the 3 tools for adversity that you need to find is, do I need patience? Do I need courage? Or do I need faith? Faith in outcome. I'm not talking about religion. Faith in your outcome, which means believing in something even though you don't have evidence. Because in the past things have worked. We don't have evidence for what we do. I mean, you go to work and you think you're going to work, but you have faith that you're going to be at the job. Tomorrow they may come and say, hey, goodbye, you're fired. So we live on constant faith, on beliefs, on outcome. If you didn't have that, you wouldn't do anything. Because you would think, well, they may fire me, so I'm not going to go to work, or I may not take this course because I'm going to fail. You don't know. That kind of faith and outcome is what I'm talking about, and that's what's so important. That you act and you work. You don't sit around. You wait. You don't wait for the universe to come and take care of you. Or you don't wait for anything like that. The universe is too busy expanding to be concerned about whether you want a new car or a new relationship. It doesn't work that way. But you have agency, which is the action that you can take in situations. And when you do, you find that things start happening because you have tremendous abilities. You're brilliant. You just have to bring that brilliance out. But adversity can cause a lot of disorganization of the brain. Let's see. Is it possible clients will need all or a combination of 2, or would you want to identify the top one? You always want to identify the first, because in perception, the way the brain works is that you have, it's called the Gestalt principle. You have figure and you have background. If you want to try it now, check it out. You look at me and my books become background. Look at the books and I become background. So the brain can only handle one thing at a time. That's why multitasking doesn't work really well. You think you're doing a lot, but you're not. It's very inefficient. So what you do is you take the one that's the most salient. So is it more fear than impatience? Is it more lack of hope than impatience? Well, then you look. If it's lack of hope, faith on your journey. If it's patience or impatience, then you work on patience. And if it's fear, then you bring courage in. And by the way, courage, I want to talk a little bit about that. Courage doesn't mean that you have to be brave. And the opposite of courage is not cowardice. The courage comes from valuing whatever you're going to be courageous about, or yourself. So really the terrain for courage is value, self-value or value of something. If you are going to defend a child, you defend the child because that the child has value. But maybe you may not risk your life if it's a rat. But if it's your son or your brother or your sister, you would. Why? Not so much of being courageous, just that you bring value to that person. And the value to that person is the terrain for courage. As you notice, a lot of times heroes will do things and they'll ask him, well, why did you do it? Well, I just thought that it needed to be done. It was worth it. They're usually very humble about it. They don't boast about it. They just, I was there and I took care of that because I valued human life, for example. So that's how that works. So any other questions? Always remember the Gestalt principle. Take one at a time and then let everything else become the next step and the next step. You have priority circles that I talk about. Okay, a lot of new people coming in. And if you just join me, I'm talking about the 3 tools that I use for adversity. Patience, courage, and faith on your outcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Dinner Thief, you're welcome. A lot of people joining. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask them. And then if not, pretty soon I'll be wrapping it up and we'll download it to to the YouTube channel, and then there you'll be able to see the whole video. It'll be up tomorrow, and it'll premiere tomorrow, probably at 2 or 4 o'clock at the time, so we put. So you'll have videos here on TikTok, 60 second, and then the extended, which is, this is one of them, will be seen at YouTube on Dr. Mario Martinez. That's the channel. And please follow there and follow here. Follow my work here. Click the follow so you can be part of the audience. You can be part of the what I call our subculture of wellness, to exchange and to co-author excellence and to co-author brilliance and the good things about people that I think are so important. So TikTok could be a very, very good place to learn and to grow. So that's what I encourage you to do, and I want you to be a part of this. And so that's why I'm House Shrink. Okay, any other questions that you might have? It's a really good group of people, and quite a few are here. We get hundreds of people every time that I do these things. I want to remind you, if any of you are from out of the United States, let me know. So far we have people from Mexico and Germany, but if you're from another country, go ahead and let me know. We had as far away, of course it's all relative, far away as where I live, which is in the United States and in Tennessee. We had people from Mongolia, from the Philippines, from China, so it's really been very nice. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and I'll try to answer them, and see where we go from here. I have a lot of clients facing fear with new medical diagnosis. Any advice for those facing that? Yes. What happens with medicine, and this is why sometimes people will go to a shaman or go someone else, even though they may not get the help there. In medicine, the way that it's set up, unfortunately, is that you go there and you're looking for a diagnosis of having to take some medication that's going to be toxic, or they're going to remove something from your body. But not all medicine is that way. There's functional medicine, there's narrative medicine, there's integrative medicine that actually work with the total of the individual. They don't just go there and try to take something out of you or put you on medication if you don't need it. So the doctor has to be a teacher, not a technician. So my advice is, so you want to go to a doctor who is a scientist, not a technician. The technicians are the ones who will only believe what they can measure. The scientists believe whatever evidence you can give them. So let me give you an example. I was doing some workshops in another country, in Uruguay, and there were two endocrinologists. And I talked about diabetes type 2, that there are ways to reverse diabetes type 2. And one of them said, there's no way, diabetes type 2 is incurable. The other one said, what did you do? Tell me more about it. That is a scientist. That's the one you want to go to, not the technician who's just going to give you a nocebo effect and you have 6 months to live. And that, by the way, giving that kind of prognosis is unethical, I think. So for example, let's say that somebody has an illness that on the average, they're going to live 6 months. You don't go to somebody as a doctor and say, you got 6 months to live, get your life in order. That's stupid. That's not good science. Good science and compassionate science says, on the normal curve, on the bell curve, the Gaussian curve, people with your illness on the average live 6 months. But if you look at the two tails of the Gaussian or bell curve, some people live 6 weeks and some people live 10 years. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the people that live 10 years and see what they're doing so I can help you and see if we could expand it from 6 months. That's what a compassionate scientist would say. An idiot would tell you, you got 6 months to live and goodbye. That is an imbecile. You don't need doctors like that. You need doctors that have compassion, but good science. So you're not lying to the person. You're just giving them, this is an average. This is not a sentence. This is on the average. It's like people on the average might live 80 years and some people live 110. Well, that's why you have a normal curve. Adversity around fear of the future. The first thing you need to ask yourself is, where did you learn fear of the future? Because a lot of the things that I talk about is developmental. Where did you learn? Did you see parents who were afraid of the future, who were afraid of how things were going to happen, fear of not having enough money? And that's where you learn fear of the future. And this is something about the future that I can tell you about. The future, you can't predict the future. When people say, in the foreseeable future, there's no such thing. an incongruous statement. You can say in the near future, but you can't say in the foreseeable future because by definition it's not foreseeable. So what do you do about the future? In the future, you have nothing that you can predict. No matter how you prepare, you can't predict. But there's one thing that you can do and you can cultivate in the present, and that is your creativity. If you develop your creativity in the present, then you can have faith that in the future your creativity will help you work through the future. So you can cultivate creativity in the present, and indirectly your fear of the future will go down because you won't know what the future is, but you'll know you have the creativity to deal with it. So that's a powerful, powerful way to look at it. So any other questions that have to do with the subject of adversity and the 3 tools that I use for adversity, which are patience, courage, and faith on outcome of the objectives. And what is adversity? Anything that disrupts your plans, from having a flat tire to having an illness or ending a relationship. They all have similar dynamics. Some are more intense than others, of course, but they have the same dynamics where you have to, you lose your patience, you lose your courage, or you lose your faith. That's it. Okay, so I hope that that answers that particular question. So remember, cultivate your creativity and your fear of the future will diminish. But ask yourself, who taught me to be afraid of the future? You saw it. Not by they telling you, but by you observe when you saw, don't do this, be careful, don't do that. Risk-taking. They taught you to be afraid of risk-taking? Well, that's afraid of the future. And that's what it's all about. So these are things that you can practice. And of course, you can go and watch my videos on YouTube and make sure you follow my channel, Dr. Mario Martinez. Make sure that you follow TikTok, you follow House Shrink, and that some of you, if you can afford it, buy my books. I have 2 books. They're wonderful. They're both bestsellers. The Mind Body Code and The Mind Body Self. And you can get them on Amazon, and I think you will find them very, very helpful. It's like a navigational guide for life. They're very good. I put a lot of time into it, and I've had some really, really good comments from people that have found it very helpful. Okay. So I think I'm going to be bringing closure here so I don't make it so long. But remember that the whole video will be available tomorrow on YouTube, and the channel is Dr. Mario Martinez. A short version of this was already published. It's on my House Shrink channel, and you can go there and you can watch it. Do those books have the information you just talked about? Yes, and they have extensive information. I would start with the Mind Body Code, which is the first, and if you want to go further, then you can go to the Mind Body Self. But yes, I talk about all these things in my books, and after each chapter, I give specific techniques to learn to understand and absorb the chapters, the information, and then put it to use in your life. And I also have a bibliography, so you can go deeper if you want to with the science of it. And I have a glossary, so you can, new terms, so you can know what they mean and all that. So they're very well done. And I wanted them to be quality so that people could actually get their money's worth. And I think you will if you read them. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I am going to be then, every time that I say that, a question comes up. But so far, this has, let's see. I'm sold. Thank you again. All right. Then a thief. That's very good. You had some very good comments here today. And especially if you get the books, I think you'll be very pleased. So anyway, one more question and then I'll go. One more question here. I think that's about it. And we are moderating this video. And when people come up with clownish questions or vulgar questions or stupid questions, because no question is stupid if it's about the subject. It's stupid if you're trying to show off and come up with cute little things to get attention from other people, then those people are going to be just muted. So anyway, any other questions? And if not, then I'm going to say goodbye to all and remind you to follow my work on YouTube, Dr. Mario Martinez, and especially here on TikTok, for the short videos, and make sure that you follow, you click the follow on both situations, and you go back and forth, and you have a tremendous amount of information available to you. So until next time, House Shrink saying goodbye. Have a great day and have a wonderful weekend that's coming up. Okay, enjoy, and I'll talk to you soon.